Good afternoon, good evening, welcome, good morning. Whether you're joining me live, you're on the replay. My name is Aaron Mills. I'll be your host today as we're walking through this accelerator session, diving into media sites. Excited to be with you all here. Let me know where you're coming from, where you're joining me from. Super excited to talk to all of you. We'll get started here in just a moment. Still your opportunity to grab a glass of water, grab a notepad and a pen. You're going to want to take notes and really get this information to stick. I'm going to try and keep today to exactly an hour. I'll leave about 10 minutes at the end for questions if you have them. If I don't answer your questions right in the middle, then I apologize for that, but I'm going to try and kind of move swiftly. We have a lot to go through, but don't worry, we won't leave you hanging. We're definitely going to get you where you need to be today in terms of media sites and get you off the ground. The great thing about these sites is once you kind of know what you're doing, you can build one of these things in about 20 minutes, believe it or not. And you can start calling and emailing and reaching out to business owners and start getting traction with them very, very, very quickly. So welcome Anthony, Clement, Eddie, James, Brian. Brian's in Long Beach. We got San Francisco and Dallas and Baltimore and New York City in the house. Glad to have you all here. We're gonna give a couple minutes to people to jump in. Hey, Dre, Jens, John, Larry, Rodney. Nice to have you all here. Give me a 1 in the chat box if you have trained with me before, and give me a 2 if it's your first time hanging out with me. 1 if we've done this before, and 2 if it's your first time hanging out together. All right, lots of friendly faces and lots of new faces as well. Welcome. I am one of the product coaches here at Strategic Marketer. The wonderful thing about this company and working with this company is that unlike a lot of people in the world, we don't just talk about what we do, we actually do what we talk about. And so I'm one of those people here at Strategic Marketer that does what we talk about. In fact, I have my own media sites and I've been getting my own appointments and I've been getting my own business traction using this exact strategy. So I'm not approaching this from a perspective of somebody who knows some software, who's good at talking, or any other angle other than I'm actually doing this. Every little bit of this I'm doing myself, and so I'm happy to give you that and try and transfer as much of that to you as I possibly can. And the things I found that worked, the things I found that don't, and how to start to get some traction with this. One of the things I want to say before we jump in is that I've tried a lot of things for a long time, right? And I've been at this for quite a while, many years. And so I feel like I've kind of seen and done it all in the sense that I've struggled like any one of you who has tried to, watched a webinar or a training or been inspired by something, but then tried it. And the other side of it, you felt like I didn't really get the traction I was after. I didn't really deliver what I kind of felt like I was promised. And I think you're going to be very happily surprised today to learn that we're not in that situation, because everything I'm going to tell you to do is stuff that I'm doing that's working for me, and there's no reason in the world it's not going to work for you. In fact, everybody that I know that has just decided to take action and try it has had some amazing results. So yeah, for those of you asking, there will be a replay. Don't worry, you'll be able to watch replays. We'll get those out to you usually within 24 hours. And then of course, the cool thing about this accelerator session is we're doing it live on purpose, guys. We could have just pre-recorded all these videos and let you guys watch some videos whenever you felt like it, but it's so much better to do it live, because now you can ask your questions. If you get stuck, if you need something, if you have a question along the way, that's why I'm here. Come back the next day and ask your question, or if you don't know it now and you run into a problem, I'm here to help. I'm happy to help you, and we will do it. So, all right, so we're talking about media sites today. The goal here is to really start to build your media channel empire, right? We want to set up your first media site. We want you to choose a niche. We want you to configure it, and we want you to launch your own growth strategy. That is really what we're after here. There is no reason not to have your site going later today. No reason. Before I jump in any further, though, I want to just get your agreement on something with me. Can we all agree that we're not going to sit and listen to Aaron talk for an hour, but we're actually going to do this stuff? because I'm going to ask you when we come back here. We're going to be back here on Monday morning, Monday evening, same exact time. We're going to be back together again. And between now and then, there is no reason that some of you should not have set your very first appointments to talk to businesses, to interview them. There's no reason that some of you shouldn't have seen a spike in traffic on your site already. There's no reason that you guys shouldn't have gotten all of this configured. And so I'm just gonna tell you, I'm going to completely remove all of the excuses right now because I've set enough of these sites up and I've seen what's possible with this, and I've watched people who are on the sidelines just dip their toes in the water and see immediate results with this. I just want to let you know I'm removing all the excuses because there's just no excuse between now and the next time we get together that you guys can't actually start to get some traction with some of this. So can everybody agree on that? Does that sound good? Does everybody give me some 10s in the chat box if you guys are on board with that, because I'm going to hold you accountable to it. And this is just so simple. This is such a brilliant idea, and we've made it so turnkey that there's no reason that you guys should not be able to move forward. Awesome. Okay. So let's dive in. You know, we're talking about level one, and that's really the place to start with this because this is such a good opportunity. I've called businesses for so many different reasons. I've used so many different lead magnets and tactics and approaches over the years. I've emailed businesses using all kinds. I mean, I've tried so much stuff, guys. And so much of it is so hard that I would tell you, you know, here's my approach 6 months ago. I would tell you cold calling is effective, but you've got to get really used to people saying no. You've got to get really used to people being a little harsh with you. You got to have a thick skin. I would tell you cold calling is there's a learning curve and you've got to overcome it. And you need to really set a goal of calling 100 people a day. And you need to do that for several weeks until you really kind of get in the flow of it and you're going to start to see results. But it's going to be this process where you're going to have to kind of transform a little bit. This is none of that. This is none of that. All right, this is just none of that. What happens with this is that every time, and by the way, just to be clear, I've got plenty of experience calling people, but with this strategy, when I get on the phone and start calling people asking for interviews, and if that's something you're scared to do, I would challenge you to embrace your fear and do it anyways. Because if you're not going to do it right now, if you're not going to take the steps to change your business and your life with this investment of your time and your money, your time is worth so much more than the money you've invested in this, by the way. Your time is worth so much more than the money you've invested. This is such an incredible small amount of money compared to the time you're gonna be potentially going to put into this, and the results you could see from this. It is just a fear of getting on the phone is not a good excuse in my opinion, because with this, every 20 minutes that I spend on the phone, I basically set an appointment to meet with somebody. I don't know if you've tried that before. I don't know if you've called before. And not only every 20 minutes I spend on the phone, I generally send an appointment with somebody. That's not even just like, even if nobody answers the phone, I can literally call for 20 minutes trying to get interviews for these sites, and nobody answers the phone, and still people will call me back and want to do it. That is how effective it is. I have never called people to sell them anything in my entire life and had people respond and call me back, understanding why I called and trying to get a hold of me, except for this strategy. I have never seen someone be able to invest so little time and get so much results except for this strategy, like nothing I've ever seen in my entire life. So you are very much in an amazing position at this moment to be here with me in this room right now on this call, because what I'm going to share with you is so simple but so powerful. It is going to completely change the way that you do outreach to businesses. You will never want to do it another way again. There's just not going to be a good reason to. So I hope that you are all excited for that, because that is really what's about to happen. And just to give you guys some feedback here, this is a member of our partnership program. Now, Bobby got access early, right? I don't know if you guys know anything about our partnership program, but our partners actually get access to these things early. They get to beta test this stuff with us. And that's one of the reasons that we can bring such really cool stuff to the marketplace sometimes, because we test it out. Well, I tested it out, and then I saw that it was amazing. And then we brought it to our partners, and Bobby tested it out. And Bobby, literally, this is, you can see I left the date on here. Okay, I left the date on here because this just happened, right? Over the weekend, Bobby sold a $6,000 site and $695 a month. And I had a conversation with Bobby about this afterwards. And we both pretty much agreed that she probably could have sold the site for between $10,000 and $20,000 very easily. So if that doesn't get you excited and you don't see the potential, then I don't know what to tell you. So what are we doing today? Like we need to kind of move along. So we're gonna do about 20 minutes of setup. We're gonna dive in. We're gonna set one of these sites up real quick. It's literally gonna take us 20 minutes. We're gonna spend another 15 or 20 minutes talking about how we're gonna kind of kick this off and what the process looks like after we get our site up. And then we're gonna talk about a contest, because those of you who are willing to take action and do something and actually do this and then share your results with the rest of us, I just want to say, I'm going to kind of sneak peek what's possible here. Some of you are going to get all your money back for the money that you spent so far. So I want to make sure that's super clear. Some of you are literally going to we're going to give you all your money back. Some of you, but only the people who will really, really go after it, right? So if that's you and you're like, hey, this is all I'm going to, I'm going to dedicate myself to this. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to go after this. Then we are going to select some of you, and literally we're going to turn you into a case study. We're going to use you because you're part of our private community, but we're going to take what you did and we're going to use it as a demonstration to others. And for your participation in that, we're going to give you your money back. So anyways, and there's lots of other things we're going to do too, but we'll leave a few minutes for Q&A as well, but let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to go ahead and let me exit out of full screen mode. We're going to get into the software, because setting these up is super easy. And let me ask really quick, who has set their site up? In fact, we just made some changes to the software that made the whole process even easier. In fact, even our own documentation on how to set it up, we're updating it right now because we just literally made a bunch of changes to make it even easier to set these things up. Who here has already got their site set up? Does anybody already have their site? You already just do it? Because like it's very possible that 15 minutes after you guys got in that you already have your site up and running. Okay, started but stopped at RSS feeds. No worry, we'll get you there. Clement, trying to find the perfect niche. We're going to talk about that, Clement, because I have some very specific thoughts on the kind of sites you should create, and you should definitely listen to that. You have it, but you have to reset it up. And got the plan done. Awesome, Chris. That's awesome. Okay. So yeah, we're going to show you how to create a plan. I'm going to show you all of that, which is super, super easy. And I'm going to give you some thoughts on the kind of site, the kind of approach you should be thinking about. So, okay. Just says, I don't have funnel pages. Patricia, if you have media sites, then you have access to this. Keep in mind, media sites is just built inside. We took funnel pages as the backbone, and we built all kinds of new technology on top of it for media sites. So you may not have funnel pages, but you have media sites, which means you have access to this. Just go to the members area and access media sites, and it's going to take you right here. Right, it's going to take you right here. So yeah, so no worries at all. If you're wondering, I don't have this funnel pages thing. Where is this? Don't worry, this is where you're gonna go. So you're gonna land here. You can see I've already got an account here, but I'm gonna set up another one. It's real simple. Upper left-hand corner, I'm gonna click Create Media Site. If I click Create Media Site, I'm gonna give it a name. Now, let's talk about what kind of site I want to create. I want to create a site that is for the customers of my customers. A little bit like that movie Inception, guys, where it's like a dream within a dream. Let me say that again. If I wanted to work with dentists, or I wanted to work with lawyers for my marketing services, or for whatever services I'm offering, because it doesn't even have to be marketing, guys. This could be for any kind of service business you want, any kind of business you have. You can use this tactic, it's gonna work. But when I want to sell marketing, because that's what I sell, when I sell that to a business, and let's say I like to sell that to attorneys, really valuable. I also like to sell it to like plastic surgeons and dentists and chiropractors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a media channel that I think that their customers or their clients would read. Now, why am I thinking that? What's the purpose behind my strategy that way? Because I want them to be excited to be featured on this site. I kind of think it's not a magazine, you know, a magazine has like issues. Media sites are not really a magazine, but they're kind of like an online magazine, right? If we think about it a little bit. So they're kind of like an online magazine. So the analogy I like to think about is what kind of magazines would the customers of my clients be reading? So if I'm working with plumbers, and that's who I'm going after, or I'm going after HVAC companies or construction companies or roofers, whatever niches that I've decided to focus on, what are their customers going to read? Now, if it's a plumber or a roofer, well, it's a homeowner, right? So we want to know that they're a homeowner. So if we build a magazine for homeowners or a blog for homeowners, that's probably a pretty good strategy because that's their customers, right? And then maybe I'll make it region specific. Maybe I'll limit it to a city I'm focused on or a state that I'm focused on. I don't have to, I could just make it national, but those are options, those are ideas, right? There's nothing wrong with that. And I've tried those things, by the way, and it works really well, right? So what I want to do is I want to make one. In fact, I'm going to do one. I think I'm going to go after Portland, Oregon in this case. So I'm going to call this Portland Healthy Living. And so who am I making the site for? I'm making Portland Healthy Living specifically for people that I'm going to try and market to doctors, chiropractors, people who are, you know, alternative medicine, massage therapists, anyone in that kind of vein. And also I can get even broader. I can talk about general kind of health and wellness, right? So any business interaction, I could even do like day spas or retreats or even vacations, right? I can go into tourism. I can work with so many kinds of businesses with this niche. And there's lots of niches like this. It could be the home improvement niche. It could be something as simple as this tech news, right? I mean, just think about who it is you want to reach. And it's, if I made a site for plumbers, why would a plumber care about being in that site? Does that make any sense? Are you guys connecting with this idea? If I said, I want to sell to dentists, I'm going to make a site about dentistry. That makes no sense. That's not a good idea. You have to back up for a second. And a lot of people have made that mistake, and that's why I'm kind of harping on it. That's not the approach. The approach is to say, okay, well, if I'm going to sell to dentists, who are the customers of dentists? I can tell you who their customers are. The customers of dentists are school-age children mothers. So if you made a magazine for school-age children mothers, that's who a dentist wants to be listed in. That's the magazine they want to advertise in, right? That's the kind of magazine I want to make. So, okay, so how would I do this, right? So Portland Healthy Living, super simple. I need to choose a business. I've got this tech news business that's going to work. I could add a new business called Portland Healthy Living if I wanted to. Doesn't matter either way. I'm going to click next. And now I'm taken right into building my media site. So what's my site title? It's going to be called Portland Healthy Living. No need to overcomplicate it. And then I'm going to give it a description. Now, I could generate that with AI, which is kind of cool. Explore tips and resources for vibrant, wellness, nutritious eating, and sustainable living in Portland. How cool is that? That's perfect, right? I don't have to come up with it. I don't even need, you know, I'm really ready to go here. Now, current domain. And by the way, guys, once we're done with this, I'm going to give you some resources to find a niche idea, and after you find your niche idea, to create a business plan, right? I'm going to show you how to do that. It's going to take you literally seconds to get that going, but I just want to show you how to create a site so no one is left behind learning how to build one of these things. So now we need to give it a domain. Right now, currently we have this domain here. You want to give your site the respect of its own domain, right? Don't go build this if you have like a marketing agency called abcmarketing.com, don't make this like news.abcmarketing.com. Or don't go make this like a site that's like a part of some other brand unless that really makes sense, right? Imagine you're launching an online business, give it the respect it deserves, go spend the $10, get yourself a domain name. Super easy to do. Add it to your business, and then add that here. That'll show up here if you've added to your business. I can show you how to do that in a second. Super easy. But you don't have to even have that to start to get the process started. Just know that it's something you're going to need, right? You're going to want to have a domain. So, okay. So we're going to, in this case, I'm not going to set this as the home page. I'm just for this test, I'm just going to call it Portland, and then we can add a domain name later, and we can add, we can show you how to do that. But I'm going to leave my blog comments on. I'm going to approve them automatically. And the other thing we need is we need some categories. Now for this site, I happen to know that health is probably a good category. Wellness is probably a good category. I think news is probably a good category. And by the way, when we show you how to develop ideas here, it's going to give you all the categories. It's going to give you a whole plan. So you don't even have to figure this out, but we need to have some categories. I recommend have at least 5. Okay, have at least 5 categories. That's probably a good starting number, right? So we have health, we have wellness, we have news. We're going to put Portland news. And then maybe I'm going to do like lifestyle, and then maybe I'll do like travel. I think these are all interesting. And then maybe I'll put sustainable living. I think that's part of our description up here. That would make sense, but your categories need to make sense to you. So what kind of categories of content you're putting in your site? That's what you're trying to figure out. And they should be big and broad like this. If I look at your categories and I don't know what would go in there, you've picked wrong categories. So let me just explain that. If the tool gives you categories and you're like, this category is really wordy, or these are really complicated, just simplify it. Just simple. They need to be really, really obvious. Once we have it, guys, we're going to hit finish. Okay, hit finish. And now here's the part where we start adding content. Literally, we're going to add our first RSS feed. So how do we go get RSS feeds? Well, the tool we're going to show you is going to give you some RSS feeds, but you might want to go find some more. Like, there's no reason you're not going to go find some more. Clement has a great question. Does your site have to have the same title as the domain? Clement, imagine if you owned Vogue and then you went to a website that had a different name on the address. Would it make any sense? Or imagine you owned the New Yorker, and then would you put the New Yorker on the newyorker.com, or would you put the New Yorker on some other domain, right? So yes, in my opinion, you definitely want to have a domain name that has the same name as your site. I highly, highly, highly recommend that. It needs to be really obvious and make sense. And consistency. You want, keep in mind that the brand that you're developing here is the most valuable asset, right? Today, it's not worth anything because there's no content on it yet. You don't have any traffic on it yet. You haven't put any cool interviews in it. You haven't done anything with it, right? But imagine 5 years from now, put yourself in a position of being 5 years from now. The brand is literally the most expensive thing, like the most important thing, the most valuable thing. The value of the durable brand, as we call it, is literally invaluable. It could be your brand. If you built one of these sites out and you've got traffic and all kinds of great content on it, and you're selling advertising on it, and it's cash flowing, and you're using it to generate leads, and you've kind of done all these other things with it to monetize it. Maybe you've got affiliate stuff on there. Maybe you're selling, who knows, right? The brand could be worth a ton of money. So you want to create a very consistent brand that all makes sense and flows together. So where do we find? Let's go find some RSS feeds really quick. I'm going to show you a really quick way to do that. We're going to go to Perplexity. I'm going to drop this link in the chat and just go to perplexity.ai if you're following along, and the replay. No worries, just perplexity.ai, right? And you can see it up here in the address bar, perplexity.ai. Super simple. If you've never used this before, this is an AI search engine, and there's lots of other ones. And by the way, Google works for this too. This just happened to make it a little easier. I have a media site like a magazine for health and wellness in Portland. And by the way, guys, I have not predetermined any of this. I'm literally choosing the site we're building. I'm finding the feeds all in real time, all with you. None of this is predetermined. None of this has been pre-decided. I'm just doing it in real time. So any problems I run into, we're all running into together, okay? But I just want you to see how easy this is. Just so this is not like, Aaron researched the exact thing to find. No, I'm just doing it live with you. I have a media site, magazine, health and wellness. So Portland, I need some great RSS feeds with the raw RSS feed URLs of magazines or other websites that would have content that would be a good fit for my site, for me to create something similar. Now, some of you are saying, oh my gosh, Aaron, that's such a long prompt. When you're talking to AI, just explain your problem. Just explain the whole thing you want. So I'm going to put this in the chat if you want to copy what I'm doing, but it doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. You could just say, I want RSS feeds of news sites in Portland. That would be okay. Or I want RSS feeds of popular health and wellness blogs. That would be okay. There's all kinds of ways you can approach this. This is just how I'm doing it on the fly, right? So let's go ahead and look. And Perplexity is going to start giving us some RSS feeds. So Art of Healthy Living. Now let's see if this is a feed or not. Sometimes AI is not perfect. So how do we know if this is a feed? Well, I'm just going to open a new tab. We're going to drop it in. And we can see this is a feed. How do I know it's a feed? Because it looks like code, right? This is code. This is what we want. If this looked like a website, like if I went here and it looked like that, this is not a feed. This is a website, right? In fact, it's not even a web page that works. So we want a feed. We want it to look like this. Well, this is a good sign. This is a feed. We can grab this. I'm going to copy this. Let's put this in Funnel Pages. Let's go ahead. Oh, I need to give it a name. I'm going to call this the Art of Healthy Living. And I'm going to say dash health. I'm telling myself for later. This is just for me. This is the category I want it to be in, and this is the name of the place that I've got here. So in a year from now, when I look at this, I know what it is. I'm going to put my feed in here. I'm going to paste it in. I'm going to hit connect. What's going to happen is, oh, this feed is unavailable. There's something wrong with this feed, guys. There's something wrong with this feed. I don't know what it is. It could be malformed. Bites of Wellness feed. Healthy Magazine AE feed. I don't know what this is. Let's check this one out. That could happen, right? I'm glad we're running into this because it could happen. It could be like, it's not going to work. Well, maybe it's a bad feed. This one's a feed. Let's go back here. All right. So let's close this out again. Let's try different. Let's try this again. This is Healthy Magazine. Health Magazine.ae. Let's try that one. And hopefully we're not 2 for 2 on finding bad feeds. It doesn't happen very often to me, but I'm glad at least it happened once live. What it's going to do is it's going to go fetch the content from this feed. It's going to give us some article ideas here. Yeah, comment, you don't need an age domain. Age domains are great. There might be some added juice to that, but it's not necessary. Yeah, Chris says feed isn't valid, exactly. Can you find out how prolific the feed is? I mean, you can go look at it. I'm not going to really get into like how to analyze that on it necessarily. I'm not really sure why it's taking so long right now. Usually it's going to do this like in a couple of seconds. So it's kind of taking a long time, which is not the best, but that's okay. All right, so let's keep looking. Health Tips Express. There's another promising feed here. Let's take a look at that. Is it a feed? It is a feed. Maybe we'll try this other one. That one does not seem to be wanting to work. Give this a second here. Okay. All right, so there we go. So it takes a minute sometimes. It may be because there's like a million of us trying to do this at once. But no worries, right? Yeah, so yeah, Clemens is glad this is happening. Exactly. Sometimes things don't always go as you plan, as is planned, but that's that's the nature of things sometimes. So we got a bunch of articles back, right? Now, what's going to happen is this is telling us like what's in this feed, but this is also our opportunity. This is our opportunity to start adding some right off the bat. So we can actually approve some of these. So I don't really want to do this training in India. Health benefits of watermelon, like it. Culinary uses of wild berries, like it. Health benefits of cucumbers, like it. Health benefits of spinach, like it. Healthy detox juice recipes, like it. Pear salad. I don't like recipes too much. 9 incredible pregnancy yoga benefits you need now. I love it. Benefits of exercise during pregnancy, all good. Look at all these great articles. So out of these 10, these are 8 or 7, I think, that I really get. 7 that I really like. I want these on my site. So I've approved them, and all I gotta do is hit add to campaign. And once I do that, I've now added those. So those are gonna get instantly added to my site when we're done here. And by instantly, I mean it's gonna build them, right? It's gonna take a couple minutes, but it's gonna add them all in the next couple of minutes, which is amazing. So now what it's doing behind the scenes is grab the signals. Those are all ideas. Those are all great ideas for articles. So now our reporters are going to go out and research those things and basically come back and create our own articles on those topics by leveraging those signals. But I didn't have to research those or come up with those. It's like I just did all the work for me. How beautiful is that? So now I have some choices. Okay. I can go back and edit those if I didn't like what I chose, right? But I can either do immediately or I can schedule them out, right? Now, why do I want to do immediately? Immediately means that basically this is like the schedule information, by the way. The scheduling section is every day, right? So every day I either want to immediately post some new, whatever's new from this feed, or I want to schedule it. So I could schedule, so every day, one day later, it's gonna post this. Now, why would I do that? Why would I want it to post it one day later? Well, maybe I would like to have some control over when these things get posted. I want to be able to look at them first. Well, I could come in and check my site out if I wanted to do that. I could come in and check my site out and kind of look at things before they go live. I'm not worried about that. And that's not what I'm worried about at this point. I'm just going to do them immediately. So every day something new gets added immediately. How many articles? I just want to do one. I can do a maximum of 2, but I think 1 is plenty. And then I'm going to choose the longer length articles. And I'm going to choose a target audience. Now, who's my target audience? My target audience is adults in Portland, Oregon, who care about health and wellness. That is my target audience. That's who my site is for, those people. Now, which reporters should this feed be? We can read about them, right? We can kind of decide who we think fits. Michael's all about breaking stories. Vanessa is more about sports and all of that. Emily's more about heartwarming stories. Daniel is more about cutting edge technology. Lily is more about health trends. So Lily obviously makes a lot of sense for this. That's probably a good one to start with. Now I could create my own new reporter if I wanted to. And I recommend doing that. If you haven't done that before, you should definitely do that. But we don't have to do that for now because Lily's gonna work just fine. And I'm gonna leave my calls to action off because I don't have anything on my site that I wanna sell yet or market yet, but I can always come back and play with that later. But I'm going to select the category manually. I want all of these to go into health. So everything coming from this feed will go into my site in the health category. And then I can add keywords if I want. Now I haven't done any keyword research on this, but I could add some keywords if I wanted to make sure that they got utilized whenever it made sense. And that's how it's going to work. It's going to say, does this make sense to use these keywords? Maybe I'll drop them in. But I don't have any keyword research for this, so I'm just going to leave that as it is. Now, I do not want to delete them after 3 months because I haven't seen any reason to do that. So I'm going to turn that off. And then I'm going to go up here to create campaign. And I have literally just populated my site with 3 articles. You'll see that they're in progress down here. See down here how we're in progress with those 7 articles? But what's going to happen is it's going to start dropping these in my site and automatically populating my site with content. Now, my first campaign is done. I'm inside this app here. I can build more campaigns. Or if I want to go grab another RSS feed, I can go back and find another one. I can go to new campaign and we start the whole process again, right? I'm gonna hit the back button here. So that's how we add content to our site. Now I want to do that for a minimum of all 5 of my categories. For every category that I have, I want to add at least 1 feed. Does that make sense? Everybody on the same page? Let me know if anybody's lost me yet. Is this making sense to everybody? This process? It's pretty simple, right? Nothing too like earth-shatteringly complicated or anything you feel like you can't just knock this out really quick. Because really my goal for you is when we jump off here in a minute, you're going to go do all this, right? We're going to be jumping off in just a minute and you're going to go in and do this yourself. But we got to have these sites up because you want to participate in this first contest we're about to do, and you can't do it without a site. So it's really important that you jump in. Okay. That said, let's go back to my deck here. Let's go back and let's go a little further down the line here. So we talked about logging in, adding your new news channel. So keep your categories simple. We talked about this. The app's going to be pretty much self-installed. So let's talk about strategy for a minute. So here's what I don't recommend. Like just general business news or like a local company news or like an industry news, not the best idea, right? Like, a site all about plumbing, the plumbing industry, not brilliant. So I don't think it's great. On Orlando news site, I don't think that's not amazing. It's okay, guys, it's okay, but it's just not as good as you could make it. Now that said, you're going to want to build a brand. Let me show you in a second here where to go get access to that. In fact, you're going to log into the members area and I'm going to show you it's really, really easy to start that process. But you want several RSS feeds. And the idea here is you should go and get your site set up. Go get yourself, if you want Google Analytics on your site, go do that. Go buy a domain name if you need a domain name set. Let me show you where you actually can set that up. If we go here and we go inside of funnel pages, you're going to go to, see where it says tech news, it's the name of my business. If I open that up and then I go to setup, and then I can go over here to white label, this is where I can add domain names. So I'll show that one more time here. We go back here, you could also find this by going to businesses, the name of your business, setup, and then a white label on the left-hand side. You'll have a replay of this too, by the way, to find this. This is where you're going to add your domain. You add a new domain is really easy. You're going to hit add new. You're going to go make a record inside of your host, which is it's pretty easy to do if you've never done it before. Your host can also help you, your domain provider can also help you do this, which is probably in a couple of minutes. But you want to get this set up, and you're going to add the domain, and then you will be good to go. Okay, so that said, we go back into our site here. Look at that, guys. We've already got our first articles in here. Now, sometimes AI is going to do something and you're going to say, oh, that's not, I don't love that. Look at this image. This image is disturbing. I have no idea what's happening. It looks like someone backwards. So what do? Well, it's really simple. And every once in a while this will happen. In fact, that's happened now. You're going to edit the post. You're just going to regenerate the image. If I go to update on this image, I can go to generate with AI. I can just hit generate image again. Open this thing back up again. Yeah, I don't love this image. In fact, I think I need to change this prompt. Let's generate a new prompt. It's going to go look at the article for us and it's going to generate a brand new prompt. Let's go ahead and regenerate the image now with our new prompt. That's much better, right? I like that much better. I'm going to take this little bit at the end that says minimal text with the word transform in it. I don't want the text in there. I'm going to regenerate image. And, oh, there we go. That's kind of interesting. Much better than the one we had, right? So I'm going to save and use the image. I'm going to go ahead and hit my little crop thing. That'll make the image perfect. I'm going to, whoop. We can zoom in on it. And then now I'm going to hit insert. There we go. This makes more sense. I don't know. I still don't love this image, but you guys get the point. We can play with this as much as we want. I'm going to save and publish this now. I'm going to go back. So now I've fixed the image. Everything else looks really good. Now, one last thing we need to do for this site. We need to go back. We need to go into our funnel here. And I see this is the page. We need to go and actually edit the page. See right over here, we're going to edit page. You're going to see we have a bunch of widgets in here, and this is all placeholder content. But there's a couple things I want you to recognize. This top one here, if we click on the settings and this controls, on this top widget for stories, you'll see it set to all categories. This means that this top one is going to show every category that you have, right? So it's every category that you have. Now these ones are set to show the next categories you created. So this one is going to be your second category, so health, right? So I can change this latest to health because this is going to show the health category. Now what's this one? Let's look at it. This one, you'll notice the category is wellness. So I can change this to wellness. I can scroll down here. Then each of these widgets is going to display, and they're very configurable. You can feel free to tinker with them. But like where it says world news here, if I click on this, it's actually news. So I can just change it to news. That's the name of the category. This one is, let's see what this one is. This one is Portland news. Okay, so this is local news. We'll call this local news. If I can type, here we go. We can scroll down again. This one says health on it. It's actually, what happened to it? There we go. This one's actually lifestyle. So I just need to change it to lifestyle. So I'm just making the headlines match the categories assigned to each widget. And each widget has a different category assigned. I can change them around, by the way. If I wanted my local news to be at the very top, I can just change this one to local news. If I wanted to put, you know, like Portland news here, I can put Portland news. I could do whatever I want, but I'm just making it all make sense. Does everyone follow me? Does everyone follow me? It says, I do not understand the domain setup at all. The domain setup, you're going to add a DNS record. So there's instructions on the page, and my suggestion is to give the instructions to your domain name provider. So if you go to GoDaddy or Namecheap or whoever you buy your domain from, literally give them the instructions and let them set it up for you, and just add the domain in, and you should be fine. And they're so used to doing stuff like that, it should be no big deal. Okay, so the other thing I want to do, I want to edit the other stuff in the page, right? About world news. Well, this needs to be like Portland healthy living, right? At the top, and there's a bunch of other placeholder stuff down there I want to change, but at the top, same thing, right? I need to change this. I can put a logo up here if I wanted to, Portland healthy living. There's other ways we can edit this page. I'll show you that more in the future. But we basically got our site ready to go here. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to save and optimize the page. And then we can actually go take a preview of it and see our stories in. Now, keep in mind, guys, a bunch of these sections are going to be empty because we didn't add their RSS feeds for them yet. So don't be surprised when we look at it and we're like, why is our site so empty? Well, if you added all your categories, it's going to be full of content. But right now, only a couple parts are going to be full of content. But once we're ready to look at it, we can hit this little this preview here. We can open it up. And so look, we got our health. Our health is filled out. So we got all these health stories. But look at all the other ones, they're empty. We just need to add some more RSS feeds and we would basically have all this whole site filled up with content and basically have it functional. So you guys follow me? Do you see how like you could spend, if you spent a couple hours on this, I'd be surprised, honestly. Because it's very, I've built them in much less time than that. Now let me show you something here. Let me show you guys something really quick. Because what we want to do is we actually want to get into a couple of different links I want to share with you to create your plans here. Yeah, let me go actually to it. Let me open another window here. Give me 1 second. We're going to get into the members area. I want to show you where to go get the access to the tools that are going to help you plan this out, because it's going to give you some additional capabilities here that are going to make this whole like coming up with the idea and the business model of this so much easier to do. So if I go into media sites here, let me switch my view around. Give me 1 second. Okay, so you can see this is around my media sites. If I go here to the sales and marketing resources, you guys see that? And by the way, this is where the replays for this will be too. I've got a couple things here. First, I have this guide. I'm going to drop this link into the chat for you, just so you have access to it without having to go there. There's the guide. This is going to walk you through. There's so much in here, guys. So much in here. So definitely check this out. Right? Feel free to make this your weekend reading. Okay. Peruse it at least, please. And then we have a media channel concept agent. And here we can create some really good content. If you're wondering like what kind of concept you should go after, this is going to help you figure that out. All right, so in fact, let me go back here. I'm going to drop this link to you in the chat. And all of these are accessible in the media, in the members area if you're watching the replay. And then, so that's going to create your concept. This is going to create your plan. So this is for your plan. Same thing. This is a media channel plan generator. So what you want to do is start with your concept, figure out which concept you want, then go generate your plan, then come back here and build your site. Does that make sense? Is everybody on the same page on like the order of operations here and how this should all work? Let me share my screen again here. Are we able to add code for chatbots, etc.? Absolutely. So if we go back here, in fact, we can go into settings and you can add pixels, right? This is where you can add pixels if you want to add something to the head, the body, or the footer. This is like where your chatbot might go. If you want to go back to the page itself, you could also drop a custom HTML block inside. In fact, you can configure these pages a lot, guys. There's a lot of configuration. Let's go back into the editor. I'm going to show you a couple of things I didn't even talk about. Left-hand side, elements, right? You can drop, like you want to drop a video on the page, just drag a video widget in, right? Drop a video right here, anywhere we want. Let's say that you didn't, let's say you wanted to add a whole new section of the page. You go to the section, the story box, we have all kinds of sections, right? If you want like a whole different layout of content, you can just drag one in. So this is fully configurable. You can build any kind of site you can imagine really with this thing. So I am pumped I am pumped. Let's go into the weekend and envision the amazing thing we're going to build. Go use your, go build your business plan, and can't wait to see what everyone does with this. And have a great weekend, guys.